My father was a brilliant taxidermist. His final project was not an animal. Heart 3.
Then quickly added, "Let me know if you need anything." As I walked the aisles, I caught another customer pausing near the produce, eyes tracking me without subtlety. I noticed the man outside the window cross himself once before quickly turning away. It was a quiet reaction, almost instinctive, but it lingered in my head the rest of the day. I didn't think much of it. I assumed it was the kind of tight-knit community awkwardness small towns specialized in. Outsiders were always observed, sometimes resented. I'd forgotten how strange it felt to be somewhere everyone remembered your last name. But it wasn't hostility I felt in those glances. It was something else, something closer to wariness, or maybe reverence. And behind it all, I could sense a strange question in how they watched me and didn't speak of my father at all. The house creaked with age every time I stepped across the warped floorboards. Though it had been built to last, it hadn't been lived in properly for years, and the weight of silence pressed against the walls harder than any storm ever could. There were signs that my father had lived here until the very end. An old kettle still resting on the stove, slippers placed neatly beside his worn recliner. But there was no warmth left in the rooms, just residue. The mounts were the first thing that started to unsettle me. He'd always surrounded himself with his work, and the living room was no exception. Heads stared out from the walls, a red fox with matted fur, a hawk frozen in mid-screech, a dozen squirrels with arched backs and glassy, frozen tension in their limbs. A bobcat posed on the mantel, one paw extended, mouth drawn back in a snarl. But the expression didn't read as predatory. It looked surprised, almost embarrassed. Each of the eyes had the same strange quality I remembered from when I was young, too reflective and focused, as if the gaze followed even when you turned your back. Some of the animals weren't posed for realism at all. A possum on the corner shelf was sitting upright in a child's chair, dressed in a doll's clothing, paws folded in its lap. A raccoon on the bookshelf had spectacles resting on its snout, and a tiny copy of Walden glued into its paws.